Steve, we was going to talk about the show this weekend in Liverpool, but it's not to be.
No, Lee, unfortunately, and it's very rare that VIP do it, we've had to cancel the show, and being very, very truthful, it was all about the economics of it and what the show was doing. I mean, we do shows and lose money, and you know, being a boxing promoter, I understand that's part of the risk of me doing shows. You know, very rarely we make money, we break even. I'm over the moon, but you're kind of trying to do it to move the fighters on them. And this show seems to have been jinxed from the start, you know, and things have been going wrong, and then a few kids pulled out on Sunday, couple work match. The main focus of this show was the English title fight for Brandon Diard, and like he'd been let down the first time when Ashley Lane pulled out claiming that he'd injured an ankle, and then he pulled out this time again, citing they couldn't make the weight, but we've had interviews with him confirming that the weight was no problem, and we didn't find out from him or his management, we actually found out from the board that he was requested to fight for a title at bantamweight, which I thought was against the rules because he'd already contracted to fight at super flyweight. But I mean, the board passed that, which I put a complaint in because it shouldn't be allowed. I mean, if he is struggling at weight, why did he sign the contract, and why was he going through the fight twice? He's obviously pulled out because he's getting more money on another show. Phone me up and tell me he's got more money on another show, you know, but that's what's happened. So Brandon Diard was the top of the bill. Felt really sorry for Brandon because it's twice it happened to him now, but we'd actually, you know, booked a Russian to come in, as we'd booked a Spanish and paid for the flights for Charlotte's opponent. But yesterday I was looking at the figures, and I mean, the most I've ever lost on the show is £17,000, and this one possibly could have been worse. And I looked at the show and I just thought, I can't possibly lose that sort of money on a small show like that. I mean, there was really only one kid, Conor Goulding, who'd sold well with the tickets. All the others were really struggling, and you know, I got in the car yesterday when I realised how bad it was, and drove up to see Brandon and sat with him and said, Brandon, this just doesn't financially work for me. I understand now, like, you trained for 2 camps and things like this. I said, but you know, this is how much money I'm going to lose, and you know what, he was a bit upset because obviously he trained hard and he was desperate to fight for the English title, but he said, you know, I understand, Steve, I fully understand, when can you get me out next? So we had a little chat, and I've got a plan, and we're going to try and find someone else for the English title, and we're going to do something with Brandon. So the next thing I did was just open a group chat for all the others and sent them a text explaining why I had to pull the show. And to be fair, they've all understood it. I mean, one of the girls, Charlotte Powell, who was fighting, sent me a text saying, like, you know, can you develop my career right? And you know, I've got, no, she wasn't happy, so I had a phone call with her, and I've given her the contract back. You know, if people expect me to lose that sort of money, they're not the sort of people that I want to be working with anyway, and it's difficult, and I would have done it and lost a substantial amount of money, but I wasn't going to lose the amount of money that we was going to do on the show. And taking Charlotte's into account, you know, her trainer had turned down English journeymen or journey women, and then we was getting a spanning for it. And I look back now and I think I should have accepted that. I should have just said, if she's not capable of beating them, tell her go to Tesco's and get a job there, because you know, why should we pay an extra? I mean, the opponent was costing £3,300. Why should we pay extra just to get her a 1-20? And he was worried about that as well. You know, I should have turned and said, no, she's got to fight them or take her off the bill. And going forward now, I can't have trainers dictating about us losing money when there's no need to, especially in women's boxing. They're going to be fighting for titles after 5, 6, 7 fights, so why should they keep getting noddies and costing us money? And like, she hadn't sold enough tickets to pay for the opponent, so I've got to pay her wages, I've got her percentage to the pot, and the overheads to do the show was pushing £12,000, so someone's got to put a contribution towards that. So that one fight alone could have lost me £3,000. Yeah, I'm not doing my job. Well, okay, fair enough, good luck, go and find another mug, you know, and that's the situation. But as I say, everybody else has accepted the position. I'm going to go and see them all, I think, on Saturday now that I've got no show to do, and talk about how we can get them out again. But you know, we can't be doing shows like that, and shows where they're not even fighting them and moving them on. If Ashley Lane was in it and it was the English title, and I knew that a win for Brandon had put him towards a British title fight, I'd have done the show because something was coming out of it, but nothing was coming out of it. So, you know, I've obviously still lost because I paid flights for the Spanish, I've paid flights for the Russian who was coming in to fight Brandon. We'd obviously have other commitments, but we can't keep doing it, and you know, we've got to have a rethink of how we put shows together and the fights. And you know, like out of this one, Ethan Brown had pulled out, but Liam Cooney was struggling to sell tickets. Ethan's not a big ticket seller. Put them two together, and I spoke to the trainers, and they're both happy for us to do that. So you know, that is a fight where they'll sell, because Liam's fans will be thinking he's got a tough fight. Ethan's fans will be thinking he's got a tough fight, so they'll come and watch it, and then other people, and then other people will be thinking, oh, that's another good fight on the show, we'll come to the show. So you know, I'll take half the blame because it wasn't a great show, but I did have 3 or 4 pull-outs. We started off with an English title, and Brian Phillips was going to be in the Central Area title fight, you know, so we had 2 title fights. You know, Paddy Lacey was on it, but he had a poorly hand, and he didn't want to risk it because he wanted to fight on the big Liam's Callum Smith show that was due in Liverpool. But that's not happening now because of Eddie losing the purse bids and the fights go to Canada. So you know, it's just been one of those shows that's not gone right. So you know, I do apologise to people who's bought tickets and was looking for a good night. I apologise to the kids who's trained for 6 to 8 weeks, but we're just not in a position to do it, Lee. And you know, it's unfortunate, but we'll battle on. I'll slip as many kids as I can on my other cards, and then we'll look at what we can do in Liverpool again. But you know, if we go to Liverpool again, I'm going to put the fights on like that, and the kids are going to have to take them. And you know what, it might really be a bit early for them, but you know, fair play to Liam Cooney, he was up for it. He's only had 1 fight. I wouldn't really want to do with that, but that's what he wants to do as well. So you know,
he's had 2 fights.
Yeah, is he? Oh, sorry, 2. Yeah. So you know, the kids, you know, sometimes you think don't want to do it, but when you get to the nitty-gritty, the kids will do it. It's the trainers sometimes stopping them, isn't it?
Well, if it's fair if their opponents at that same level.
Yeah.
You know, if the opponents at the same, it's like that mini tournament that you did with Reese, Casey Brown, Johnny Boy. You know, they were all. It was all too early for them. Yeah. But they were all at the same level. Yeah, they all learned from it and come back, and you know, who wins Ethan Brown, Liam Cooney? I don't know. I don't know. No.
Yeah, it's a great fight, and you know, people want to see them. And to be fair, when they're struggling to sell tickets, they might be selling tickets. Charlotte was struggling to sell tickets. Who you fighting? I'm fighting as Spaniard who's lost 20 out of 20. Well, no point, come and watch that. You know, let's be honest about it. You know, us as promoters have got to do a better job. And me, I can't be a mug. I can't keep being a mug. I've got to make sure that the kids are developed at the right pace, and the women have got to be developed at a faster pace, because they're going to be in titles quickly. And yeah, I'll accept some responsibility, but at the end of the day, I'm not losing that sort of money.
No. And if you can make that fight, there was another one you spoke about, which would be another fantastic fight for Liverpool. Thorne Wright against Joe Cabana.
Yeah. I mean, that was
Joe, and he's up for that.
Yeah, that was made for this show. You know what I mean? And that fell through because Joe weren't well. So you know, there's 2 belters. I mean, we've got the Jake Barton and Liam Williams rematch that can happen. You know, hopefully for an area title. So yeah, the things that we can do, and the lads, they want to fight. They're training hard to fight. I want them to fight. You know, let's make sensible, fair fights. And you know, if Lee and Ethan fight, the losers in exactly the same position. You mean the winner's going to move on a little bit faster, but the loser's in the same position. You know, I'll carry on working with them and bring them through. And you know, that's the way I think boxing's going to have to be now. I can't have people dictating to me what they're doing. I mean, I can obviously have conversations and do things, but you know, it's my money that I'm losing, and I don't mind investing in the fighters. I've done it for 27 years now, and we've built world champions from people who've just come through basic amateur careers, you know. So you know, we've proven we could do it. I'm the busiest promoter in the country by a long stretch, and I've been for probably the last 15 years. So you know, we know what we're doing. It's just shows like this sometimes turn to shit, and it's just been a bad experience for everybody.
Right, nice one. Thanks, Steve. As I say, good about it.
Yeah.
But on the bright side, the week afterwards, a lot of interest on the Lara Wood show.
Yeah. We've got a few things happening. I mean, basically what I'm going to do over the weekend is look how I can get these kids out on some of my shows that I've got coming through. Mainly Bolton, isn't it, in June and July, because I won't be able to do anything with them in Yorkshire. Them shows are packed, mate, yeah.
Is that right? You've got Jake James, a good fight on the 24th?
24th of June, Jake James v Darren Tetley's top in the bill.
Good fight there.
Yeah, he's a good fight.
And then a couple of weeks later...
Yeah, do you know what? That'll bring the punters out, won't it? It's like Ashley Lane and Brandon Dale would have brought the punters out, but listen, it just as it is. It doesn't just happen to me, it happens to the majority of small promoters on a regular basis. There's promoters who pull more shows off than they do. We're not like that, you know. This is just an unfortunate situation, but you know, you look at these big TV shows, you know, they have the same problems sometimes, you know what I mean, and they're working with sponsorship money, they're working with TV money, you know. We're not, we're doing it with nothing, and I'm just a bloke who gets up at 6:30 every morning, including Saturdays and Sundays, and works all day, and you know, he can't be doing all that work just to lose it on a boxing show, mate. Yeah.
I say, if it would have been the English title, you would have done it.
Yeah.
But, sadly, it's not to be. But any idea of when that can be rearranged for him?
Well, it's not a question of rearranging it. I've got to get somebody else. So we've got someone who said he'll take it. So I'm going to put it to the board. And in my mind, as we're sat here now, I'd like to put that at the top of the bill in Blackpool on the 9th of September. And you know, all the Blackpool kids can know they're going to come and watch an English title fight, as well as the Blackpool lads. So that's my plan on that one, mate. Yeah.
Right, brilliant. Okay then, nice one, Steve.
Cheers, Lee. Thank you. Bye.
For all boxing info, news and latest interviews, amateur and pro, across the north, click and subscribe. VIP Boxing Promotions. Also Twitter, Instagram and Facebook.